Hey everyone, Jason and Brad here with Best Life Group, and welcome to this month's newsletter. Now, for this month's newsletter, we're going to be talking about something that everyone notices, but very few people actually talk about. This month, we're going to be talking about seasonal SEO. Now, when we talk about SEO, or search engine optimization, we're specifically talking about how you present yourself to Google. Now, remember, with SEO, you are presenting yourself to Google's customers first, and the better you can present yourself to them, the higher you're going to rank in Google's search algorithm. Now, you'll notice companies like Old Navy, Walmart, Nike, even Amazon changing their commercials as well as their websites and social media seasonally from spring to fall or football to baseball. Your number one thing should be to have a plan before you start jumping into any changes. Now, your plan needs to include pay-per-click, on-site SEO, social media messaging, and Google My Business posts. If you're using ERS, inside ERS, it could also include moving or restoring old categories, changing banner images, changing your homepage images, changing your suggested add-ons and frequently purchased items. If you're using add-ons, maybe it's time to change up the images on your pop-ups or images to reflect the current season in any way. Do you close? I know some companies that don't have enough revenue to support winter operations, and I also know some that close down for the season to be with their families, starting off with their trip to IAAPA. In ERS, you're going to want to show a note in your calendar saying close for the season or call reserve. You should even show a pop-up on your rental items that say limited to indoor use only for a certain time period, or simply change your homepage to say that you're only taking reservations for the spring season. Now, how do you know when to adjust your SEO? To that, I turn you guys to Brad. Brad, can you give us some examples on that?
Hey folks, like Jason mentioned, one of the biggest things to do is to develop a plan. And the first thing that with developing a plan is gathering your data. The best place to go for that, quite honestly, is your own website. If you actually jump into your reports inside of ERS, you can actually pretty easily pull up this information. So if you go to reports and then scroll down and then take a look at your product reports, sales by category, a quick way to view this data is to actually find out what your seasonality is simply by scrolling through the months. So if you start off with January, you can go through the year and you can see your pie shapes get bigger over here. So you can see bounce houses are one of the big renters in February. March, same thing in April. Then you transition over into May and you can see suddenly water slides, obstacle courses start popping up. Get into June, and as you can imagine, summer sees a whole lot of water slides. So you get into October, September and October, you start to see that shrink down, and then by the time you hit October, it's pretty small piece of the pie for that. But the other pieces come back. So obstacle courses, bounce houses, water slides, all of those become very important to your business again. You get into November, and quite honestly, you'll see the same with December. Bounce houses with slides seems to be very positive. Or your big renters. If you want to, you can actually export this over to CSV. You can open it up with Excel, which is what I've done here. And then what I've done is you can extrapolate all this data out, and here's the trends that you can see. So this happens to be the revenue, and you can see that in the revenue model, starting in May, your water slides start going up. They really peak throughout the summer, and then as you get into September, you can see the dip for them coming down. You can also see the same thing for some of the other rental items. You can see, your obstacle courses are up in May, drop down, come back up in October. You can see your interactive games are the same way. When you pull the data out of ERS, you can actually also look from not just at the revenue, but you can look at it from a rental side, and you can see that here is these are going to be your bounce houses with slides go up. You can see some of these, and these are the number of rentals. This one's actually concession supplies. So while it may not be important from an SEO perspective, it is important because you probably want to have those supplies ready for those May rentals. And then again in October, you can see kind of the highs and the lows of each one of these categories. So it's important to be able to pull that information. We actually have a report that we have pulled that's got national search trends, And those are all from Google. These are national search trends, so understand that they are not specific to California or Chicago or Texas or Maine. These are nationwide searches. This is not a bad thing to take a look at, but it is even more important for you to know what your own seasonality is, because just because a rental item is popular nationwide doesn't mean that it's popular in your neck of the woods. If you're in a colder climate, your water slides start dipping a lot sooner than potentially even September. You may see them in August, where you see other rental items come up. But these are just the national search trends. If you'd like a copy of this, we're more than welcome to make this available to you. Just give us an email, sales@bestlifegroup.com, or drop us a note on Facebook. We'll happily send this over to you so you can kind of see what the nationwide trends are. But again, you really want to bounce into your own trends and see where they are for your specific area, so you know when to change those. And when we talk about the changes, what are we talking about? You want to make sure that your images change. Your banner images, your rental items potentially need to get shifted. You may want to move your water slides up towards the top of your category list if you've got a drop-down list. So maybe a time of year that you move the water slides down, you move carnival games up. If you've got obstacle courses, start moving those up or down, because this is not just a one-time-a-year thing. This needs to be done at least twice a year. Obviously, you're cold to warm and you're warm to cold. But you should look at it, typically every season. The other things that you want to adjust are going to be your add-ons. In the middle of December or any of those colder months, you don't necessarily want to recommend a water slide add-on, for example. But it would potentially be the great time to turn around and recommend a concession items, snow cones, or popcorn or cotton candy. Those items may be things that you want to put into your add-on list if you're using add-ons. And if you're not using add-ons, highly suggest that you do that for each one of your items. The other thing that you want to do is you may actually find that you want to rearrange items inside of your categories. So when you go into your moonwalks, you can actually adjust how these things are shown in your cart. For example, if you had a water slide, or a bounce house that had a banner on it that was a Christmas banner, a Santa Claus banner, something like that, most of the year you're going to have those things buried down here at the bottom. You may have them set to not to display to customer, however you handle that. But as you start approaching November and December, those are the time to reactivate those and to move those up. That's something else that can be done inside of ERS. You can definitely move those things up, and it's definitely something that you should do. Your keyword, your phrasing that's on your websites, you want to make sure that it's seasonally reflective. Is it fall festivals, Halloween parties, beat the heat, get out of the scorching sun? Those are some terms or some phrases that you may want to start putting into your seasonal SEO. So when you're looking at on page, you're speaking to the audience that's actually renting it. Beat the heat and get out of the scorching sun in the middle of December aren't necessarily the messages that you want to be able to present to your customers. They're looking more for something along the lines of, how can I stay warm? Another thing that you may want to take a look at, coupons and special offers. As your coupons are set up out there, if you are using a coupon that specifically says, warm up is your coupon code, now may be the time to change that. As you're looking at the winter months, you want to be able to change those. Something like, in the wintertime, maybe something along the lines of, hey, warm up with our patio heaters. If you're doing a patio heater special, add a patio heater to any bounce house rental. A coupon code for that could just be warm up. If you get into the summer and you're going to, throw on a snow cone machine or something, or try to target people for water slides, maybe a cool off or something like that. Whatever works for you, but you easily do that so customers can remember your coupon codes and actively use them.
So now that you have seen how to pull those data trends, here are some useful tips as to what to do with that information. You need to change your pictures and banner images. You need to change your order of categories. You need to change the order of the items within those categories. You need to change your suggested add-ons. You need to think about changing your coupon codes to be to be more reflective of the season. You need to have a plan as to when to do it and make time in your schedule to make these changes so that your company and website can be relational to the season you're in. Next month, we'll be focusing more on pay-per-click advertising and some things that you need to look at for seasonal changes to make. Between now and then, you need to examine your data and develop a plan. Keep in mind that while changes can reflect immediately on your website, some SEO takes time to reflect on Google search engines. We recommend planning 30 to 60 days for this to kick in, but Google can take as long as 90 days for it to actually reflect on the search engine. It really depends on how often your site is crawled by search engines. As Brad noted, if you'd like a copy of our national search trends, drop us a comment and we'll send that your way. Email us at squad@bestlifegroup.com or tag us on Facebook for your copy. That's it for now. We'll see you next month. If you like this, please remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.